what's up, everybody? Welcome to Cornhole Geartalk, presented by West Georgia Cornhole and Titan Bags. I'm your host, Ben, and I'm sadly only here with one person as a co-host today because Kendall is sick. But I'm here with Josh.
Yep. Howdy.
Oh, there it is. There's the howdy.
I was trying to think of what Kendall said, and I was going to try and combine them all, but it just...
yeah, that wouldn't have been good.
No.
But we do have a very special guest today with us, a phenomenal person, a phenomenal cornhole player, and many people may think of this person as a joke.
Oh, my God.
Sorry, I had to pull that joke. But he is no joke, even though his name is Joe K. So, no further ado, we have Mr. Joe K with us on the podcast today. What's up, Joe?
How's it going, fellas?
It's going pretty good.
What's your weekend looking like? You said you have to be at the venue in probably, 30, 45 minutes?
Yeah, so I actually have to set my my team's event, my lineup, and get that all set up. It's like a 6-man team, captain of the Michigan Marauders. So me and Jordan are here in West Virginia, getting set up for that. So
Right on.
Well, that's cool, man. Well, we wanted to take a deep dive into your brain. Now, just so that everyone who's watching is aware, we have recorded this episode already.
Yep, this is round two.
We had no audio at the end of that recording, which was not great. So we're going to have a refresher on the things that we talked about, and it was some pretty interesting stuff. So
I kind of just want to, off the rip, go ahead and cut into something that probably about halfway through the podcast we started talking about. Kendall and I were talking about it yesterday. And one thing that I feel like I didn't expect that just fascinated me, and something honestly I thought about for days, and I probably talked to maybe 7 or 8 people about this after the conversation. Obviously, you said you have an engineering background, correct?
yeah.
And so you talked about how in the past you've brought in static and kinetic energy, and you used to take timeouts in hopes of building up that I think you said static energy on the board and technically making your bags possibly harder to move. And so I guess I kind of just want to go ahead.
So so static friction is actually relative to time. So it's like imagine you're moving I don't know, any sort of furniture, right? This is probably a bad example, but say you're moving a cabinet, right? And if the cabinet is sitting there for 3 hours, to get it sliding on the carpet again, obviously you're going to need kinetic energy to start pushing it, but to break that static friction, the more time that it sits, the more it kind of falls into that static friction mode. Because if you really think about it, friction is everything kind of scraping up against each other, and it's when you really break it down, it's like jagged edges, and the longer that you let stuff sit, the more those jagged edges will kind of form more static friction. I don't know. I way overthought it, but I stopped doing that. After a while.
But still, I think that's really unique and really cool to me that you're at least in that headspace and thinking about that, because it really is all about minute, competitive advantages that you can kind of create for yourself. And so I guess after that, I'm curious, are there any other things off the top of your head that you feel fall in that same category? Are there things that you were doing that you feel were purely from your engineering background and education?
Oh, I could go on.
That's more than a 20-minute episode, I assume.
Yeah. We can get down to, even the speed of the bag. So that we have the numbers on the bag, which do a pretty good representation of how fast the materials will play. But actually, if you spin the bag faster, it's going to have more energy, and it's actually going to travel, or it's going to break through that friction, and actually have a little bit less friction going up the board. So it's going to play faster with more spin. Higher spin rate equals more kinetic energy. You're going to be able to, roll, get more action in the beads. On the inside, more things going on, more energy. That's why sometimes, when a bag hits the board, if a thrower spins it really hard, sometimes it'll sound like a shotgun shell going off, because it's just more energy compared to, say, someone that throws with less spin.
Yeah.
Has this scientific theory been peer reviewed yet?
It's inertia.
Joe's like, Ben, they did that 400 years ago.
I haven't tested it, but just by observing, say you watch, say Tony Smith or someone that really revs the bag.
Yeah.
And they're throwing like a slow carpet bag, which is supposed to be like a 2-speed. And you watch how fast he spins the bag. And the reason that the bag can, glide up the board is because obviously he's putting more spin on it, more energy, helps it get up the board. And then, I've studied all the way down to like the fills, and impact time, how impact time has to do with pushing bags. Different fills will give you different impact times. So like a oval fill, or something that'll spread out, and something that'll has a little bit more surface area to it. It's going to land and kind of mush into the board.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a lot less. Once it hits the board, it's not going to want to go like straight up. Whereas like, say, a round fill, every bead that hits the board, it's only hitting a tiny little spot on it.
Yeah.
So reducing the impact time, that'll create more of a bounce. Extending the impact time, that'll create more of like a mushing effect. That's why a lot of times when you break a bag in, you get it really mushy. It starts to lose elasticity, and the elasticity will help the bag it'll help reduce impact time. So the less elastic that the bag gets over time, it'll mush into the board and it won't bounce as much. And then a lot of times it'll be a little bit more hole friendly.
So, Professor Joe, one of the things about you as a cornhole player that impresses me is having this mindset of, going the extra mile and looking into all the little nooks and crannies to find a competitive edge in the smallest of things. And gosh, I want to say it was the book Atomic Habits. There was a story that was given about a cycling coach who took over for the British cycling team. And all he did was go in and just make these tiny, tiny little adjustments. Like, hey, we're going to take, a gram of weight off of the chains by doing this. We're going to, make the air resistance a little bit better on our helmets by, 1-2%.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. But over all those little bitty things combined, it made a huge difference with their ability as a team to be competitive. And they ended up winning a lot of tournaments and races that way as a result of that. And I feel that in today's competition level in the professional cornhole circuit, that is the next step. Is diving into all of these, the minutia of it all.
Oh, yeah. I feel like you can see a lot of it, too, with already just I would say the break-in process is always a hot topic amongst everybody, but kind of seeing, I guess I don't know if it's right or wrong, so maybe I was going to say the cultural kind of education or like awareness of moving from like fabric softener to vinegar. That's kind of like a movement that I'm seeing a lot of, and I guess, toss sauce and stuff is in the middle in there somewhere. But, a lot of people are starting to kind of calculate it like, well, there's residue and there's stuff possibly being left behind by fabric softener or soaps, and then people are moving towards the vinegar, and whether or not that's better or worse, but you're seeing those people take those extra few steps to try and maybe improve by another 2 to 5% or whatever.
Yeah, I've heard of the new break-in method, people using thermite.
Joe's backing over his car.
I mean, I've done a lot of different things. I tried getting really technical with it. I actually built like a box that could hold like, I don't know, 3 or 4 sets of bags. And I actually tried using like very low frequency. I took like a car subwoofer, hooked it up to an amplifier that I could plug it in back home. And then I was just sending sound waves, and I like soundproofed this like wooden box. And I was trying to throw like, you know, like 30 hertz, 40 hertz, like really low frequency, like heavy sound waves through it.
It's like the opposite of ultrasonic.
It's the opposite of ultrasonic. And then I went to ultrasonic. So I actually got an ultrasonic cleaner. And then I went to ultrasonics.
I love you, Joe K.
It took too long.
That is wild. Here's the other question: Is Jordan following you into these nooks and crannies? Are you busting out the whiteboard and like expo markers, or is he just wait for you to return back with information?
No, but honestly, Jordan respects like how much work and homework that I put into it. Mm-hmm. That's why a lot of times, like if you see us playing, he'll stop and be like, "What do I do?" And I'm like, "All right. This is what you should do." Mm-hmm. Like when we're playing as far as like strategy. Yeah. Just based off of what I see, the situation, how to make it tough on the opponent. And a lot of times like he'll pull me aside and be like, "Oh, snap, like that actually worked." Like setting a block or, forcing an airmail, ended up scoring 3 instead of 2. And it's mm-hmm. like, it's just like anything. Like when you at like say the high school level, playing like high school basketball, a lot of those guys, you watch it and a lot of those kids are just running around. They're trying to put a basketball in a hoop. Mm-hmm. College basketball, it's really technical. They're coming up with like plays and then when you get to the NBA and you hear guys like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant talk about the game, and it's not about, I made this shot, missed this shot. It's like, oh, I know what he's going to do here.
We have a special guest with us.
We do have a special guest with us.
We have Mr. Brandon Greba himself.
Pulling up.
Hey, Joe.
How's it going?
What are you doing?
Just chilling in the hotel right now.
Are you in West Virginia?
West Virginia. Nice. Yeah.
Where in West Virginia is the event?
Triadelphia, so it's like right at the very top.
Huh. I'm not sure if I've ever heard of that place.
It's only like a 5-hour drive for me, so it wasn't too bad at all.
Yeah, well, I guess to catch Brandon up since he wanted to join us, mm-hmm.
We
were talking about basketball, but specifically
basically just the details in the game. So like just like with any sport or any activity, you take it from the backyard or the high school level or the amateur level. Once you get to the professional level, it comes down to the little advantages, and that's what separates the good from the great is the details. Anybody can throw a 4-bagger, but how many times can he throw one, and mm-hmm. what's causing misses, and basic strategy. And if you don't have like the basic strategy of the game, or like maybe even like an advanced strategy of the game, can cost you games deep into tournaments at the pro level.
Yeah, for sure.
I was just kind of breaking down like how much the detail matters.
One of the reasons why I feel like you're such a good fit for our team in this aspect of it is that, there are other companies that obviously do R&D, but we've done some crazy stuff in the past in looking at the different fills, the different materials, and all these wild tests and the analytics and looking at all that. And I feel like you're a good match because you also do that. And so it's fun to see, going from a manufacturer into the hands of a player who does it too. It just makes it that much more valuable of a process
Oh, for sure. And I feel like from our point of view, obviously we have the, the slogan for players by players, and, we do as much as we can here. And it's, I don't know, it's really awesome to see kind of like the, I guess I'll call it like the nerdy stuff that we do a lot in house, and then kind of being able to give it to a pro that is going to take the same initiative and the same passion and kind of figuring out those 1 to 2 to 5% advantages and kind of getting that feedback, and kind of, I don't know, the mixture of the two is a great combination.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I did have a question about strategy. So whenever you're looking at a game, are you thinking about that game in terms of chess? So like you're thinking multiple frames ahead, or are you thinking specifically this frame is the only thing that matters at the moment?
I genuinely like to think bag by bag. I don't like to think too far ahead because you might not get that next round, you know?
Yeah.
But going back to the details, and I've noticed a lot of other pros will do this, is, they're all of the stuff and all the background as far as, like knowing what bags are going to bounce, knowing the advantages of, certain throws. I can feel someone else's bag in the warm up, kind of get a gist of, how they're playing, what they're going to do. If they're throwing like a slow bag, if they have a roll bag, kind of what tools do they have, and then try and do basically the opposite. So don't let them get into their tool bag. So say they're a role player, say I'm playing like Creek Killer or Ryan Windsor, someone that's got an elite roll bag. I'm probably not going to want to play my roll bag against them, especially if I'm, if I have a bag that's, or that's a little bit more mushy, that's going to, play better with the airmail, or that's going to, push better. I'm going to want to play to my strengths and, what my setup is, and not let them get into, their rhythm.
Oh, for sure.
How often?
Yeah, I mean, it changed. Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, it changes game by game though. However I want to play them. There's pretty much two different ways to play the game. You're either hole airmail, and just kind of hole seeking, or really strategic blocking. There's very little in between.
How often do you watch film on players that are guys that you're not familiar with playing against?
To be honest, not a whole lot.
How much are you watching film of yourself?
More recently, a little bit more just to try and fix any like kinks in my shot. I don't have a perfect shot by any means. I'm still working on my fundamentals, because I mean when I'm dialed in, the game's easy. When my fundamentals are good, everything's rocking back and forth, pendulum's working, everything stays down the middle. The game's beautiful. But start getting, anything you practice every single day, you're going to develop little bad habits, and it's always a constant battle of trying to get out of those bad habits and get out of a little slump, or get warmed up the right way. But yeah, I mean, I maybe once a week I'll look over film, but I'm trying to record at least like 3 to 5 times a week. I'm going to start going live here on YouTube, Instagram. I was going live on TikTok most of the time, but I just downloaded this app to where I can stream on multiple
you can cross-play on
platforms. So, yep.
Do you ever go back and watch film of previous games to analyze like different strategy and shots that you maybe made a mistake or wish you had a different shot in that scenario? Do you ever go back and say, and just look at that and analyze it and maybe learn from that?
I do sometimes, but more than not, like I kind of know what I was trying to do, and it's just, if I go back, I'm just looking at where I just got frustrated. And
yeah.
It make me even more frustrated that I missed the shot. I just reliving it all over again.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's hard.
But yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, you can go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, looking back on something like you were saying, like if you're frustrated, or like if you, like you were saying, like your fundamentals, if your fundamentals are a little off and you look back at it, but then maybe you're throwing hot that day or the next day, you kind of, I'm sure it's easy to kind of see where you either messed up or where you could have improved.
Yeah. So I used to keep in my notes a couple of years ago. I used to keep in my notes like literally like anytime I was feeling good, I would have a notes like, all right, thumb this way, rock this way, momentum this way. Like I would like analyze everything on my shot when I'm feeling good. When I wasn't, I would also document that too. So it's like, all right, I'll try this grip and this setup, and all right, this didn't work, this worked. Just to try and always stay in that like state where you're warmed up and you're feeling good. And then, you know, when I'm feeling really good, it is easy to kind of not so much get like overconfident, but relax and then not really focus on it anymore. And then, you know, it's right back at square one when you're, you know, trying to develop good habits again. All it takes is, you know, grabbing a different set of bags or grabbing, you know, throwing a different way for a few hours, and then it's easy to pick up, you know, small little bad habit. Then you're in a little bit, but that's the process, just the process of getting better. That's the process of learning, learning new shots, learning anything really in the game. And I'm always trying new grips, new shots, everything really, just trying to figure out what works and what doesn't.
With your current kind of toolkit for when you for what you feel like you have in your bag when it comes to either like a slide shot, airmail, roll bag, cut shot, etc., where do you feel like you're still needing to improve? And maybe like on some of your basic shots like airmails, like where do you feel like you would rate yourself on, like on a scale of 1 to 10, and how much you're really having to work on that stuff and look back at that stuff?
Right now, I'm focusing on slide, to be honest. It sounds simple, but when my slide is on, everything kind of comes back. Yep. I practice airmail quite often. My cut roll is pretty solid. I can get around one bag pretty easily. But it's always that just basic slide. You know, if you get in those long battles to where you got to throw 25, 30 rounds, I feel like I've come up on the short end of the stick a lot of the times when I'm, you know, going those later rounds. So it's just getting in that rhythm, and maintaining that rhythm, I guess, and just working on that flat bag. There's some times where, you know, it'll come out a little bit weird. I'll get a little bit of a right to left kick. It's kind of just the nature of playing that right to left. I like to play it with pushes and especially back blocks. I feel like it helps me, which I feel like my back block is probably one of my biggest strengths. So if someone sets a block, I can take the inside edge. I'd probably rate that at like a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
My airmail, oh yeah. I mean, if you set a bag right on the, you know, anywhere on the board, I can pretty much take the inside edge most of the time. But I'm gonna say slide shot probably, you know, 7 or 8. Roll bag, if my roll's on, you know, probably 7 or 8. But yeah, definitely room to improve. Definitely room to improve. Always.
Gonna have to put those stats on your cornhole card. You know what I'm saying? Like your tops cornhole
I'm waiting
player.
for Tops to do that.
Didn't they do that?
They said they were, I think they did a couple, and they were talking about, and I know can't you like submit stuff to Tops and get your own stuff made?
I think so.
I know Jay Rubin has like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
What bags you throwing this weekend?
Devastators. Yeah, I got my Devastators.
Those purple ones?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You've been hot with those lately.
Yeah, I like them. I like them a lot, man. They're working. They're starting to slow down too. So I was actually cutting and rolling with them like the past couple of days. So
right on.
I got a lot of clips cutting and rolling. So yeah, I'm pretty flipping excited about that. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Who are you throwing with?
Jordan.
Okay. Yeah, just making sure I figured it was.
Well, anybody have any closing questions, comments?
I would say Joe's probably like on the way in the parking lot right now.
Yeah.
So actually, I thought Topps went out of business.
What?
So they did cornhole. Yeah, they did cornhole cards like a few years ago, like I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think they went out of business, and that's why they stopped doing it.
I had no idea that Topps went out of business.
I've not heard that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to like go research that.
I'm pretty deep in like the trading card world. I'm surprised I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah. That's why I think that's why like a lot of the football cards, like the trading cards you see nowadays, are like Prism or like different brands.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
But,
well, good luck to you guys this weekend. Y'all bring it home.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah,
thanks, appreciate it, you guys.
Thanks for being on. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, we appreciate you being on, and we'll have you back for another Science with Joe K episode at some point soon.
We get a whiteboard installed in here so we can try and draw it out.
Yeah, dude.
Absolutely. And then I gotta I gotta schedule a weekend to come down and just check out the shop and talk to you guys, hang out sometime.
Oh yeah.
Well, we got Bag and Bash coming up, so you'll be down for that for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Heck yeah. Maybe I'll stay a couple extra days or something.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, all you guys watching, listening, don't forget to use code Geartalk for 5% off your order at westgeorgiacornhole.com or titancornholebags.com. And we appreciate you guys watching, subscribing, following, all that good stuff. And it's nice to have Brandon standing in with
here.
us.
Yeah.
Got a little froggy today.
Yeah, it was a little lonely. Yeah. We had an empty seat.
Yeah, standing in for Kendall. But yeah, we'll see all y'all later. Thanks for watching.